In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create product visualization in Blender. So in this 3-part series, I'm going to walk you through the workflow on how to make this luxury cologne. Alright, let's get to it. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull up a reference of the product here. So I have a reference of the cologne, and first let me turn on the screencast here. Okay, there we go. Let me lower the opacity. And bring this up on the Z. And straighten this out a bit. Center it too as well. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring in a cube. I'm gonna bring in a cube. And I want to align the cube to the reference point. So I'm gonna bring the origin to the bottom of the cube. That way when I scale the Z on that cube, only the top will go up and down. And I'm gonna scale it horizontal as well, just so I can align with that reference that I have here. Grab the bottom too. Okay, yeah, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna add a solidify. And as you can see in the reference, like there's 2 layers when it comes to this cologne. You have the outside, and then also you have the inside, where the liquid is actually being held in. So I'm gonna use a solidify, use even thickness, and then that way I can have those 2 layers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the inside layer, and I'm gonna separate that from the mesh. That way I have those 2 different layers to select from. So I'm gonna hit P and then selection, and now I can select those individually. Alright, so now let me take a look here. I'm gonna scale this along the Y, just so I can get the right width. So I'm gonna pull up this reference just to get a better idea of how wide this cologne is supposed to be. And let me do that here. Right, and then as you can see in the reference, like the top is more narrow compared to the bottom. The bottom is a little bit more wider, so I'm gonna use that to reflect in the model. So I'm gonna select the bottom vertices and just kind of expand that out with the scale, just so it follows that same flow on the side. Okay, that looks good. next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to bevel the corners. So I'm gonna get into the front view and I'm gonna use a 4 segment bevel. Just so I can get sharp but smooth creases. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rename the object to different meshes. So I have the outer, I have the inner. So I could select the inner glass and just align that there to the reference too. And let me scale the top vertices along the X. And grab the bottom too. Okay. And the plan here is to also use the bevel too. So I'm gonna make a little bit, I'm gonna make bigger bevels for the inside. That way I could see the thickness of the glass a little bit more whenever we render this out. And I'm gonna scale this up and scale the bottom as well. And I'm gonna add a segment in between, and I'm gonna use a bevel to split those segments. And I'm gonna add another segment in between those that I created before. And with the subdivision added on top of that inner glass, it will allow me to create a smooth curvature for that area. Okay, so looks like we have the main 2 components done. We have the outside glass and we also have the inner glass. And what I'm going to do is with this outer glass, I'm also going to create the nozzle. So I'm going to use a cylinder and I'm going to scale that cylinder on top of that outer glass. And maybe I can make some adjustment here to make sure that the cylinder isn't overlapping. So I'm gonna scale the top portion of the glass out in the Y. That way it fits in the center nicely. And I'm gonna grab the bottom too and just kind of scale that out, just so I can have the right proportions. Okay, I'm gonna bring the origin for that cylinder to the bottom, and then I'm just gonna align that down. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna model the nozzle spray. So I'm gonna inset it, then I'm gonna extrude it back up along the normal. About there, yeah. And then I'm gonna inset it one more time. And extrude. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab these edges, and first, before I do that, I'm gonna apply the scale so we can get some even bevels, and I'm gonna add 2 segments just so I can round out these corners. And I'm gonna grab the inner edges and create a smaller bevel. Okay, now I want to apply some subdivision, so let me add a subdivision on this model. And I'm gonna add some supporting loops. So I'm gonna inset the bottom and then add a loop around and drag it towards the bottom. And add a shade smooth. Now I'm also going to add the cap because that goes over the spray. So let me center that, and then I can bring that up once I get the right size. And then finally I could grab the top vertices and the bottom vertices, and when I do that, I'm gonna create a bevel for these 2 edges. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is everything we need to move over to the next step. We modeled the outer glass, the inner glass. We also have the nozzle, and then we also, on top of that, we have the cap. In the next video, we're gonna break down how to apply materials, textures to your models. So stay tuned, watch the next video, and it's gonna be a continuation of where we just left off.